Okay, I'm just putting some videos together to continue on with the Candace Owens series. This is Harold Cott series for Wolfie Part 273. Cloud Day. Just gonna look around. Let's see. I'm trying to find something to put on the news. Let's see what we got. I'm not gonna waste too much time talking. All my videos, I can only get half of my videos even go up, so it's kind of a waste of my time. Let's listen to Pastor Brooks today.
That's it. None of that, all that's out the door. When you come into the building, you can actually be a kid, be a student, be free. You're not looking over your shoulder. You're not worried about who's going to walk up on you. You don't have to worry about somebody knocking you upside. It's not about any of that. It's all about education, meeting you where you are, and helping you be the most successful person that we could possibly give you.
Bring to you the issues and awareness that you need to know about the violence on the south side of Chicago, but also to raise as much money as we possibly can to build a community center on this much needed block called O Block. It's called O Block because it's named after a young man named O.D. Perry who was shot and killed. The gangs picked up the O in his name and started calling it O Block. We decided we're going to keep the O, but we're going to call it Opportunity Block. I want to thank Fox Network for giving me the opportunity every single day to bring to you Rooftop Revelations, where I give you my thoughts, viewpoints, and opinions on matters as it relates to Chicago and issues in America. Today, I have a really, really, really special guest, and I'm so excited. Her name is Dion Kirksey. How are you?
I am well.
And she is the principal of the school that is located inside our church. It is Progressive Leadership Academy of
A Youth Connection Charter School.
A Youth Connection Charter School. So at our church, inside our church, there's a charter school called Progressive Leadership Academy, and they're connected to a group of charter schools,
Yes.
And we are so thankful for them. But I want to jump right in.
Okay.
And I want to ask you, first of all, why was Progressive Leadership Academy started? What was the point?
Our premise was initially to service students that needed a smaller environment and a little more individualized attention.
Yeah, because and why is that? Because I know in Chicago public schools, the classrooms, the student sizes are very large, and sometimes there's students who need a little more attention for whatever reason.
Yes.
And your school provides that, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So we found that a lot of students could be more successful in a smaller environment and have that one-on-one attention that they actually needed.
Yeah. So let's talk about the school. It's not your traditional school; it's a different school. But what is it that your main focus for each student?
Actually, I would say our main focus is reaching students where they are and bring them up to bar to be successful citizens in society.
Yeah. Do you feel like, as a principal, that sometimes you're getting students, not all, but a lot of times that students that you're getting, sometimes what do you do when they are behind, when they're reading not proficient? And I say that because we've been doing the studies and we see that the math levels are not proficient in Chicago public schools a lot of times. And so now here you have these students who are not proficient. So what is it that you do that's different?
So actually, we get students from all facets, not just Chicago public schools, but other school systems as well. We meet them and try to focus on their deficiencies. So the skill levels where they are, we try to get them up to par to be successful at the grade level that they should actually be on.
Right. So that's one of the reasons why you need a smaller, more attention.
Classroom sizes, yes, absolutely.
You know, I'm familiar with the school, but those who are watching are not familiar. I know there are a lot of kids from a lot of different makeups in the school, and we're thankful for that. But one of the things I appreciate is that the school has a great makeup of Woodline students who are from different cliques or different gang factions. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I want to know How are you able to be so successful with all of these different gang factions in the location? Because it would seem as if there would be fights every day. How do you do that? How do you keep it a good atmosphere?
So I pride myself in my team. I have an amazing assistant principal, Carol Robinson. Also, my staff is amazing as well. But we all pride ourselves on creating a sense of family in our building. So when you come in the building, there's no separation of BDs, GDs, this clique, that's it. None of that, all that's out the door. When you come into the building, you can actually be a kid, be a student, be free. You're not looking over your shoulder. You're not worried about who's going to walk up on you. You don't have to worry about somebody knocking you upside. It's not about any of that. It's all about education, meeting you where you are, and helping you be the most successful person that we could possibly give you.
That's good. That's awesome. So when you get these students, you get them on a path, and what is that path normally to? Like, what do the students? I know most of the students don't go to college. Some do, but most of them. But so, what are you preparing them for? These specialized students. We actually are preparing them to be successful citizens in whatever capacity that might possibly be. Whether it's nails and lashes, whether it's going to Lincoln College, whether it's going to Kennedy King and working on your career in early childhood education, where we partner with a daycare center called Brainbox, and they hire some of our students. So they're working and they're in school at the same time. We have masonry, forklift driving, coding. It's a variety of list of things that they can do outside of just your traditional four-year college setting and still be successful, still have an income, and you're not on the street. All right, that's awesome. So, one last question. When you think about the students at Progressive Leadership Academy and them on a path towards success in whatever endeavor, what is it that ultimately you think people would say about the students of Progressive Leadership Academy? Looking in.
From the outside looking in, you really can't tell that it's a hidden gem, if that makes sense. Our leadership team, Sheila Vincent and Larry Vaughn, are absolutely amazing. They've given me my training to actually do what I do. But I would say nobody really understands what we put together and how we create a strong sense of family in the building.
Yeah.
And we not only support our kids in the building and their educational level, but we support them outside the building in their endeavors. And we still attend their graduations. We send them off to college and actually decorate their dorm rooms. We go to their babies' birthday parties. Like, it's just a plethora of things that we do just to engage, to have that sense of family. And I think that piece gives us what we have in the building, which is a minimal to no level of violence.
Yeah. One more thing. When you think about the school and you think about the students, do you think that in Chicago, with all the violence that's going on and the school situation the way it is, do you think we need more charter schools like yours to address the issues that we're facing if we're going to solve some of the issues of violence?
Oh, most definitely. Because currently, Youth Connection Charter School has 19 campuses. I think if that was broadened to more areas and more underprivileged, privileged neighborhoods, I think we could be much, much more successful. We touch maybe 4,000 to 5,000 students a year across our 19 campuses. I think if we had some additional campuses, we could change some more lives.
This one right here.
Awesome. Well, thank you. You do a wonderful job. If we had
I don't know if I can get the
not
other
just
pupil.
more
Let's see.
schools like yours, but more principals like you, I'm sure we'd be able to help solve issues of
The camera's plugged in. Oh, it's blue sky back there. That's why in the right eye. So the left eye is all fully built.
And let's keep doing it.
Thank you. It's my ministry.
All right. So listen, as I always say, thank you for tuning in to Rooftop Revelations, and until tomorrow, peace.
concerns for parents whose kids are being forced to wear masks in schools. From Washington State to California, students are fed up and are staging walkouts in protest. And in Virginia, students in several districts will have to continue wearing masks after a judge temporarily blocked Governor Youngkin's executive order to make schools mask optional. Now, the governor's press secretary slamming the ruling, tweeting in part, "This is not a pro-mask or anti-mask debate. It's about parents knowing what's best for their child's health." And backlash growing over a California substitute teacher who berated a student for wearing a blue line mask to honor his father, who is a police officer. Here's what happened in that classroom.
It's the new Confederacy flag. No, it's not. That's what you do. Well, we can't do the Confederate, but we can put up red, white, and blue. No, it's black, white, with some blue line in it. Yeah, big blue line. Yeah, but it's not American.
It's like, what is going on there? Let me go right to you, actually, on this, Alicia. This is a very good example of the madness that we very rarely see in classrooms, but now everybody, thank goodness, has their phone and their camera. What's your take on this?
Yeah, thank God that the kids had their phone, right, and were able to record on this. Otherwise, it would just be their word against the substitute teacher. I find it infuriating, and I should note that the substitute teacher there, according to the mom of that kid who was wearing that mask, the principal said that he's no longer going to be working at that school, but which brings to mind the question, will he be working at other schools? It's really sad and really icky timing, because you think about the members of law enforcement who were laid to rest this past week. You have this son of a law enforcement member who is trying to honor his father, only to be berated and embarrassed by his substitute teacher.
Yeah, in front of everyone, that teacher seemed to not even know what he was talking about, but that's also nothing new. I want you guys to hear, this is from the student who was berated by that teacher.
It's a nice eye here. I'll find the other eye for it. Let's see.
I was sitting down doing my work, and he sat in the desk behind me.
This one.
He told me it was not a real American flag. He kept saying that it's un-American.
Everybody is just extremely shocked and obviously angry and pretty heartbroken that this is even an issue, that he had to deal with this, but at the same time, proud that he reacted the way that he did, and he stood up for what he's so passionate about and what he believes in.
Okay, goes to
That is
one.
excellent. You know, Sean, we talk about parents getting radicalized. It looks like students are getting radicalized. I love that they both were comfortable in front of a camera, that this kid was proud. We want to get you a few more details about what's happening on the left coast as well, with students stepping out on this. Is this good news? I think it is across the country.
Well, it is good news, because first we have parents who are actually teaching their kids to stand up and fight for freedom, which, by the way, it's interesting that we're actually having a lot of Americans ask their government to give them their freedom back. God actually gave us our freedom. God made us free. We shouldn't ask our government to give it to us, number one. But what I think is interesting is, you have this scenario where you have this, leftist teacher who's actually an idiot. By the way, I don't know how he graduated from a teacher's college. But these are leftists, and we used to think back in the 70s and 80s and 90s when some of us went to high school. These are not the same teachers. These have been radicalized teachers in the teachers' colleges, and they've now come into the classroom and they're espousing these radical Marxist beliefs to our kids. And listen, I don't know how you deal with this. It's going to take, I think, generations to deal with the school system and the teachers. If you have the funding and the resources in a school near you, go to a classical education. Get your kids out of the public school. Ask your parents or aunts and uncles to help out and save your kids by getting them out of this garbage, because it's penetrating the minds of young kids and destroying, I think, our future.
Well, and the good news is, Joe, I want everybody to watch this. We've got some video of kids who were blocked in a gym because they refused to wear a mask. There were these tables up at the doors. You're going to see this. And also, they've alleged that then an adult, a teacher or a member of staff, turned off the heat to freeze them out. Do we have? I think we have that video. Can we see that? All right. Well, it's all over the internet. I guess we don't have the actual video there. There are pictures up. And I guess the thermostat issue is being debated about whether or not that occurred. But but Joe, here you've got videos like that, you've got accusations like that, and then I think we have video of some of the kids storming out of one of those classrooms and of the school on the West Coast. So can we see that?
Cool.
That would
Yeah.
be great.
Uh huh.
All right, if
We're
not,
all walking into school with no mask on. You can get me in trouble, they can suspend me, I don't care. We're done with this. And obviously all of you are too. We want this to be a peaceful, respectful movement. We are just trying to gain back our rights as citizens.
wow, now you see, Joe, I mean, this is what we're talking about. That kid, very, very good, kind of radicalized, but isn't this the American spirit?
Kind of radicalized.
I'd say that video is worth waiting for, Tammy. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you pressed forward.
Radicalized.
It is the American spirit. It's
Oh
also
my
the American
God.
sentiment, right? So there's a poll out today. 70% of Americans, 7 in 10, said, "Okay, we're done with COVID. We just need to learn to live with that." That is a
Should have said
drastically
that 2
different
years
number
ago.
than where we were even a couple of months ago. And it seems like every day I got to see a photo or photos of some Democratic politician or some member of a teachers union or some members of a school board or some state senator who is out with their friends. They're at like the Double Deuce or the Peach Pit. They're socializing without a mask. Rules for thee, not for these, as in Democrats. And then the next day, they're demanding your kid, my kid, they have to wear a mask for hours on end. We're in our 3rd year of this, all in the name of public safety. My kindergartner doesn't remember a time, Tammy, from preschool on up until now where he hasn't worn a mask at school. Think about that. And this is happening, by the way, and this is the data and the science that we're told to follow as COVID cases are plummeting across the country. In Loudoun County, Virginia alone, the epicenter of this mass fight, where there's a population of more than 400,000 people, they're averaging about 200 cases per day. And then I asked Alexa to figure it out for me, and that's 0.06 of the population. Public health, protecting teachers and kids, right.
Yeah, Alicia, I'll give you the last word on this, because with all these kids having, they're pushing back now. They're seeing it on TikTok. They're seeing it on social media. This is really giving some permission to the kids to take, a stand against what they think is
and
unfair.
Tammy, also keep in mind, 3 weeks ago there were kids who were protesting in cities saying they didn't feel protected enough from COVID. So you have kids also protesting the mask. So the message I'm hearing, the kids don't trust the adults to take care of business, and they're frustrated regardless of the side that they're on.
Yeah, there you go. And of course, it's about the influence of the parents, which is what the teachers union seem to be upset about as well.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.
Oh, shit. Gotta get a commercial here.
Out of control in Democrat-run cities, the president of the National Sheriff's Association is slamming President Biden's push to target guns while ignoring criminals. Listen.
So the guns are not the issue. It's the violent acts being committed by these people, whether it's using a car, whether it's using their hands to choke somebody. Those are our daughters, our wives, our mothers, our children, and the Biden administration needs to start listening to our communities, needs to start listening to law enforcement. There's people that know how to make this work and know how to protect them. And they've got a hidden agenda that they're sending out there and they're following. That's not the agenda for the American people, not keeping the American people safe.
In New York City, radical district attorney Alvin Bragg is doing an about-face and changing a part of his soft-on-crime policies amid intense backlash. On his 3rd day in office, Bragg ordered prosecutors not to seek prison sentences for a slew of crimes and to downgrade charges, including for robberies and commercial burglaries. In a new memo, Bragg now calling for commercial armed robberies to be charged as felonies. So, Tammy, I'm going to come to you first because the president of the Detectives Endowment Association made a point that I think is pretty obvious to all of us. The fact that it had to be put into a memo that armed robbery is now a felony is pretty scary.
It is. And remember, it's only commercial armed robberies. So that sets out a whole different dynamic when it comes to you on the street, some other environment that it's done. There's still this very strange dynamic where you have to ask why. Because if this is about equity and improving the quality of lives of people of color, these are, in this city, in commercial areas, in neighborhoods, people of color. So you're allowing the victims more victims in your community to be created, whose lives then are changed or ruined. You don't get over having a gun held at your throat or a knife, held at your throat. When you're robbed, whether you're in a store, if you're a clerk, or if you're walking freely along the street, it's a very strange message that creates more fear. It makes everyone unsure about what's possible except the bad guys. This is like a green light to commit more crimes as though they're entitled to it, or this is some kind of retribution or revenge for something. And of course, the governor can fire this individual. She won't do it. But I think after Biden's visit, this is one of the compromises. But I don't think it's going to make a big difference in this city, which is, it's a great American city, but it's a raging dumpster fire right now. And very...
Come on, you piece of shit. So again, this is Harold Cott series for Wolfie Part 273. These are some clouds, what I call mineral streets that were just dumped out in the trails. It looks like it got, it's probably day 2 of the trailing. You still see blue sky behind them. So it's probably day 2. I just did a few other videos of day 1. Yesterday or the day before or something like that. I had a hard time putting them up. So what these guys are talking about on the news now with the again with the Second Amendment rights and all this shit with the guns and everything. I saw a message on my phone when I went to hook this phone up. I don't know who from. I didn't have my glasses on. I just saw the message and I only got 5 words of the sentence, which was, "Come and try to take my guns," or something like that. So I'm sure there's more to that sentence. So I'll just talk to that person, whoever that is. I hope you're not talking about me coming to take your guns, because I really don't give a shit who has guns. So I hope you're not talking to me to come take your guns. I'm just pointing out that people that believe that they have these Second Amendment rights to own guns, all the ridiculousness of it all. How Fox News, I'm going to try to play some of it over the next couple of days. Maybe I'll even try to play some right now after I get done saying this. Fox News is everyone plays off against each other. So I don't give a fuck if anyone's got their guns. It's the point is that they're going to play it off that they want your guns. They really don't want your guns. If they wanted your guns, everybody's guns made over the last 35 years, I'm telling you right now, all have chips in them. Even if you strip your gun down and you don't see chips, I guarantee you they got chips in them. They embed them in the wood, they embed them in the metals of the gun parts when the parts are being made. So this bullshit, Fox comes on, and maybe I'll try to find it right now while I'm talking. Fox comes on, Ingram is her name, and saying that governments are making a list of gun owners, right? That's bullshit. They don't need a list of gun owners. The list of guns that are sold are already there. You know how easy it is for them to just take a computer and set it up, and there's a little red dot for every one of their gun numbers, every one of those model numbers that are embedded in the guns. So they don't, if they ever decided to come take everyone's guns, it's not going to go the way everybody thinks that it's going to go. And to be talking about gun rights and how much you want to protect them and stuff like now at this point, it's senseless. I'm only mentioning it because I'm ranking out Fox News. I'm explaining that they're all full of shit on all sides. When our governments want to come in and take our guns, we have so much technology. We, meaning the 7.8 billion zombies that want to ignore the technology and go for these guns, these mechanical guns, because keep that in mind, they're mechanical. And when you watch what the government uses, what the CIA, the PSYOPs, the conspiracy theorists will tell you about it, But nobody believes it. Everybody thinks that this is bullshit. Okay, we have pulse wave weaponry. They can come in with pulse waves, adjust the pulse waves. They do it all the time. It's just that everybody ignores it. They call it weather a lot of times. For example, one of the not even very powerful pulse waves, it's actually somewhere in the middle. It's not very strong, but they'll send a pulse wave through a lot of towns. This is all throughout the United States, and they've used it in other countries as well. They'll use it during wartime even, and then it'll get out little bits and pieces of what happened during the war will get out, and everybody just ignores it and says, oh, it was probably some bullshit story. They'll confuse the lies with the truth and the truth with the lies, which is hard not to do. But anyways, these pulse waves, you can go in, let's say you want to take down everybody's phones or cell towers signals, right? That's easy enough to do. They just send up one pulse wave to do that. Then there's other pulse waves ranging all the way up to, let's say you wanted to shut everybody's cars down, right? You wanted to shut all the cars down so no one can drive. It's very simple to do. I mean, think about it, really. We already use it. We use it in the way of planned obsolescence, where vehicles are made to, let's say there's sensors, on the car. If one sensor goes, a cam sensor, a crank sensor, a knock sensor, you can control the vehicles breaking down and how much money people have to spend by planned obsolescence of those parts, right? So these are electronic parts controlled by a computer brain in the car. So if you send a pulse wave through, and no, you can send one pulse wave through, the human population will not even feel it. Maybe some bugs, maybe some insects might feel it. But we're not going to notice a difference and notice, oh, all of a sudden, it's funny, over the last 10 years, how there's no more bees. Bees are all going away, bumblebees, not honeybees, but bumblebees. And then there's certain other ones that run on certain frequencies because we've also changed our frequencies that we run on. Ladybugs is another example. Ladybugs, because we think that these insects, we think they fly using airfoil manipulation, when really they don't. We don't look at the obvious shit of how much does a bee weigh, how much does it weigh compared to how tiny its freaking wings are, and it's totally impossible for them to be doing this using airfoil manipulation. We can do the experiments ourselves. You cannot take a heavy object like that and just use only airfoil manipulation to fly it. We would need electromagnetic current, and we would have to run the same thing when you see all those webs going through a bee's wings. Same thing on a fly. Flies are very large bodies, some tiny little see-through netting for wings. Doesn't make any sense. And then you can see it in a lot of other things. So birds, for that matter, too. Different birds will all of a sudden they'll die down. Certain ones will go nearly extinct. All that kind of shit. So anyways, I know I'm running off a little bit, but I'm making a point, is that big fucking deal that they're gonna not that they can take out the guns. I'm not claiming that they're going to. I'm just saying they can if and when they ever want to. It's even easier than that. They don't have to use pulse waves, tanks down the street from foreign military, all that shit. They don't have to do that. We've already all been programmed to accept this. Now, the person who said that to me about not taking your guns away, yes, you've accepted a certain program that gets you upset and beefs you up for when you think the guns are going to take it away. You guys are the ones they prey on to go out and bring the gun sales way up, and you will. They do it under every president, especially the Democrats, because the Democrats are known for trying to take your guns away. So even if there's a Republican president in office, he will claim that Democrats sitting in Congress are trying to take your guns away. So then therefore you all go out and buy more guns. But it's easily seen to be controllable. And go back and watch the old news clips from Obama being in office. When Obama was in office, he's the one that said that, and he was right for it. But this goes way before these presidents. I'm only going back 30 to 50 years when I'm talking about these presidents. You can certainly go back further, and you'll keep finding it. We never really had these rights. We just claim that we did, and we argue and fight about them as we go along. And you think that because, that's not true, because I actually actually own guns, you'll say to yourself. So that means that we do have a right to own guns. Okay, that's like something Candace would say. So that's a fact. It's a fact that you can own guns because you have them in your possession right now, and that's a fact that you can own guns. And then here I am claiming that you really don't have any right to own these guns, right? So you're thinking, what the fuck's he talking about? I got guns, right? It's not my point. You're missing my point. Point is that you're allowed to have the guns because number one, it gives money to the system. Number two, it keeps up fighting back and forth and arguing, political arguments and all this shit. It's a good distraction and everything like that. But when you really look at all the other facts, like I keep telling Candace, you're looking at one fact and forgetting about the thousands of other facts that are around it. So if you looked at the fact that as soon as you sign, first of all, you got to sign a paper, you got to get a license. That right there, that takes away your right to own guns, right? Because now you don't have any right to own guns anymore. Now you have to fill out paperwork and you have to fucking give them all your information. It's a chipped gun nowadays compared to what it was 75, even 50 years ago. So now the gun has a chip in it that you're not even told about. And here I am telling you about it. And then people are going to, of course, get mad. Oh, no, I know there's no way I got chips in my gun, trust me. And then when you look back at Obama, what Obama did right from his first year, I talked about it a little in the last few videos, and for the first year, he went around and had these collectors, gun collectors in every state where you could go on Craigslist. It was very easy for them. I mean, you go on Craigslist and there's a Craigslist for every fucking state throughout this, country, every city, every fucking state, everywhere there's Craigslist this, Craigslist that. So they only need like 3 agents to be working for Obama, because I don't know if they're still on there. I haven't looked in years. So I don't know if they're still on there. Maybe under Trump, there was probably maybe 1, but there was a lot of them. There was 20 something of them or something like that, just in our areas. So they used to go from Vermont, Massachusetts, New Hampshire. They're taking all the guns out of people's hands that did not have the chips in them. That's what that was all about. Just same thing they did with your vehicles. They took all the vehicles. We did this. I don't want to say they, because everybody thinks that you're going to blame governments, and that's what you're used to doing because you're used to fighting back and forth with everyone, and that's the whole point of all this. That's what we do. That's what the 7.8 billion zombies do. We use our mirror neuron like it's trash, and we overpower our mirror neuron constantly with the mirror neuron manipulator. We will lie to ourselves about absolutely everything to save ourselves from pain, to save ourselves from seeing how ingenious we all are, because we're all so fucking smart. And no matter what it's about, it's unfucking believable. So back to the Obama thing. So Obama was going through, he was buying all the bullet equipment, the bullet making equipment through these dealers. They're just crushing them. They didn't want them. It's not like the government needs them. They got automatic ones, electric ones. But if there ever comes a time for a martial law, then nobody, I guarantee you, man, you may be talking a few that might be left that might have been smart enough to bury something in the backyard of a barn, or they didn't know about it at the time, and they didn't even know it's there. Maybe someone will get lucky someday. But for the most part, all that old equipment is all gone, and all the bullet making machines are all gone. You can't get your hands on any gunpowder to make bullets in anyways anymore. All the shit that you could have done to defend yourself as human beings under your God, then that's not one of them. There are many other ways. I'm trying to show them to you. All you have to do is go look. You don't have to bear arms. You don't have to. Seriously, just go look, because once you see it all, then you'll see it all. You'll see it for what it is, and all those other things will seem ridiculous and stupid. All of them. You're going to say, why did we ever do that? Why did we even bother with any of this shit? It's all garbage, I mean, if they put the pulse waves that they use to take down the side of a mountain, what am I at for minutes? If they use the pulse waves, like the pulse waves will take down a shitload of trees. I don't care what state you're in. I see it happen all the time. And they just call it wind. They call it wind gusts and wind bursts. They're so full of shit. These things cut down the mountain so fucking perfectly. It's like a straight line of trees. They don't usually take out neighborhoods with them and stuff, but every once in a while they'll throw one in. One of the more powerful ones will start tornadoes. The more powerful of these electromagnetic bursts that I'm talking about, they actually start tornadoes. So we're better at directing them now. Even in my area where it's all surrounded by mountains, We had thousands of years, supposedly, that we only had a couple of tornadoes that got started within the mountains, and that's why they were able to do some damage. Other than that, there were not too many tornadoes because every time they reached the mountains, they wouldn't make it over the mountains. They'd break up around the mountains, right? Not anymore. Not anymore. We get just as many fucking of these things as everyone else now. And they'll take out towns with them, and people do die, and a lot of people get hurt and stuff now over it. That's why I'm saying, for weaponry, guns ain't fucking shit, man. All they do is you sign the paper that says that if you do hurt or kill anybody with the gun, then you do mandatory time, even if you were defending yourself. So then you have to go to court. If you do get lucky and you hire a good lawyer, you might get off. And even getting off means probation and bail and fucking all this other shit is getting off. For what? For defending yourself, and you got to fucking go through all that shit. That right there makes it no longer a freedom. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you have to fight it. You have to battle it just in order to own that gun. So you are many guns. I have friends who have fucking lots and lots of guns, man. And they're not bad people. They're good people. They just into guns. So with all the guns that they have, I have one friend that's got hundreds of fucking guns, right? So even back then he'd say, you know, maybe I got too many. I really don't need this many, but he's kind of a collector. And he was even feeling the stress of that. The government supposedly didn't want him to have that many guns. It was unnecessary. He's not a police force, you know. They got to think is the feeling they gave him on it. But here we go again, arguing and fighting about Second Amendment rights, but. And as an adult, because I'm going to assume that you're not a child, whoever wrote that, and I'm going to assume that you're an adult. So you're upset about me making mention about your Second Amendment rights. Whether you're mad at me, I don't know, but whoever you're mad at about saying these things. Because I'm just going off the news. That's what I've been doing. I've just been telling you what's on the news and pointing out that these laws have always been shit. They're bullshit. So everybody's acting surprised and lying like a bunch of lying motherfuckers that we all are. They're on the news claiming that, or at least Ingram was, and so was Tucker. Tucker Carlson was also lying about it because they're claiming that the government's making lists of who has guns. That's a lie. That's a fucking lie. Why is it a lie? Not because they don't need to make a list. The lists are already done. They're on computer. They're all computer chipped. So therefore, the computer already knows. All they got to do is turn on a fucking laptop, punch up their code for whatever to get into that system, and then whoever is holding that laptop knows where all the guns are because a little red dot will light up. And if those guns are moving around, then it will also show the guns moving around, just like our cell phones do, right? Our cell phones got a tracking chip in it. Tracking chips are very fucking tiny. Very tiny nowadays. Size of they're tiny. Size of a little ash, a little piece of ash. Anyways, so here's the point I want to try to make about the gun thing. The part that you're all pissed off about it. At least a couple of you might be, anyways. Because nobody wants to face reality is my point. But the thing is here the kids are, right? The kids are all masked up. You got our kids playing gym with fucking masks on for years now, a couple of years. No evidence that the masks even will stop this virus. No evidence of it at all. As a matter of fact, all evidence shows and proves that it's the opposite of that, right? It's the opposite of that. But yeah, we send our kids to school 6-7 hours a day with these fucking masks on. And then we also have... then here comes Fox News, full of shit, liars, because they work the opposite side. Democrats, Republicans, positive, negative, black, white. Everything's got to be divided, and they're arguing the other side of it. But they're all bad. They're all bad because no one's even fucking really arguing the realities of the matter. Oh, we got censored. Oh, they're talking more about Joe Rogan and Whoopi getting censored than they are about the shit that I'm talking to you all about. And at the same time I'm talking to you about it, I'm trying to show you the system so that you can know that how useless it is for us to argue about all these things. It's fucking stupid. The kids go play gym. They're playing gym inside and outside with masks on. I mean, how much sense does this make? And we're going to argue about Second Amendment rights. I mean, the idea that they're all getting headaches, they're sick, they're depressed, they're sad. Socialization has gone down. They can't even socialize with each other. Energies are being divided. The true creator sees our energy all as one. We are the ones that, after we got divided by the false creator, humans divide ourselves the way that I'm talking about now, with Second Amendment rights, First Amendment rights, freedom of this, freedom of that. It's all bullshit. We never had any fucking freedoms. It was make-believe freedoms. It was pretend freedoms. And then now that it's all coming to a head, and they're telling us what they told us all along, because they told us all along how they were going to do this. So it should be no fucking surprise, like everybody's acting like it's a big surprise. That also shows me. Here's another example of that. What am I at for minutes? I don't know if I got time. Okay, with Trump. Trump comes in, immediately starts calling CNN fake news. Thousands of people cheer. Starts up nationalism. Yes, we needed nationalism. After 8 years of Obama tearing the fucking shit down, then nationalism was a big thing for Americans, right? So Trump, and all this shit. Trump goes the exact opposite way. He never took any of the bad laws that Obama or before him Bush didn't take none of the bad laws off the tables. Did not come clean with the American people about anything. Definitely not what I'm showing you here. What I'm trying to show you here is the biggest fucking thing any of you will ever see. I'm telling you right now, if we live out our full lives and we make it to 70 years old, 80 years old, hopefully you'll all get to see what you missed. Maybe our children or the next generation, maybe someone will come along and actually awaken the 7.8 billion. I don't know what the fucking chances are. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. But no one's going to realize how big this is that we can see it all. Because they're afraid. They're afraid to go against their programs. They refuse to go against their programs. Some of them are programmers themselves. So, of course, they're going to not allow anybody to know they're programmers. They might not even know that they're programmers. I don't mind innocent programmers. But if they're guilty of purposely programming, then it bothers the shit out of me. And then you have your controllers, and the controllers just laugh at the top. And any of us that actually, because there's got to be others like me around on this earth. They're just not, they don't have my personality. They're not going to come out about it. They don't feel right about talking about it. They can't break it. It's dangerous, if you will. So they don't want to take the chance. To me, it seems like too big of a thing to not show everybody. It's not something I can keep to myself. I have to try showing it all to you guys, and I don't know how much of it, it's like, back to the masks. So, we got these mask mandates and we got the vaccination mandates. Every time I talk about these things, my videos get deleted. So I'm going to not really say too much about it. I'm just pointing out what the news is talking about with Fox. I'm more or less talking about Fox News than I am other ones. So CNN, when Trump came out and called them fake news and stuff, I mean, that's purposeful. They're playing off against each other. All these corporations own each other. So you have Black Lives Matter, right, was being paid by big corporations. We all know that, right? Can we all agree on that? Yeah. Okay. So what people don't realize and don't think about, and what they're not told about on Fox News is so are our police departments and our city and state police. City and state police are paid by corporations now. They're no longer paid by the people who they are supposed to be protecting, because there is no protection like we think. It's about making money, pulling people over. There's a lot of stupid laws that got put in place over the many years. When Trump came in, he could have easily eased up a lot of that with simple ones, very simple ones, not even that outrageous. No more pulling over people, no matter what color they are, because they got shit dangling in their fucking mirror, off their mirror. No more pulling people over and ticketing them for not wearing a seatbelt. If they don't want to wear a fucking seatbelt, that's up to them. If they don't have their kids in a seatbelt, maybe we'll let that one ride, if their kids are not in safely. But if a dumbass adult wants to be fucking dumb and not wear a seatbelt, then that's up to them. All these other stupid laws could have been all torn down very easily but it would have taken revenue out of the system. Cops would not have a right to pull people over, to go to the next charge and the next charge and the next charge. Oh, you're carrying open containers of alcohol? There's a beer missing from that 6-pack. Yeah, well, I had a beer at my friend's house. Oh, well, I gotta have to frisk you. I gotta give you a breathalyzer. Why? I'm being honest with you. I just told you I had a beer at my friend's house. The rest of the other 5 beers are right there. Well, how do I know that wasn't a case of beer? You know, you shouldn't have to go through this kind of harassment. Trump didn't take none of those fucking things out of play when he was in office. We got shoved up the ass with all these laws all these years, and nobody cares about it. Nobody fucking pays attention. Oh no, you know, we have Second Amendment rights. We have the right to protect ourselves. You're not looking at it the right way. You're giving one fact and then forgetting about all the other facts, you know, open carry, not open carry, all these kind of things. And now they're trying to change the laws again about the guns, with saying that what size the gun is and how big it is and how many rounds it holds and all this kind of shit, and calling it tactical weapons rather than just calling it a gun, you know. Everything gets changed, and Fox goes right along with it. I noticed that. I'm really sick to my stomach with watching Fox over the last 7 weeks now. Holy God, man. It's fucking crazy, because they're just as bad, and I see it now. Years ago, I probably wouldn't even have noticed it all, but they're just as bad as the other side. Trump probably owns CNN as far as shutting it down, because now CNN's going to be shut down. There should be no surprise to people about CNN. Even people that are on Fox News on the street being interviewed say, yeah, well, CNN's not real news, they'll say. It's just an entertainment channel. We all know. Everybody's known that for 20 years. So why is Fox trying to play them up as a serious candidate for news? You know, we know they're all fake. Why did Trump come out and call them fake, you know, and make a big thing? And they went back and forth with the Russia collusion and all that shit. It's all melodramatic shit just for us, you know. I'll be back.